thrilled to be here. I moved to California about a year ago, and where I was probably the only Asian American writer in my writer group. And now I've come out to California and been welcomed to Kearney Street Workshop, where I found many Asian American writers. So, thank you. I'm going to read a piece from my memoir. Alter Mine. After 3 days of being surrounded by 12,000 writers at a conference in Portland, Oregon, I wanted to escape the chaos, you know this, right? Chaos of the convention center. So I headed to Chinatown, the city's oldest neighborhood, sitting on the northwest bank of the Willamette River. Signs of spring were sprouting. Cherry blossoms perched on trees, releasing a perfume trail. I checked my map again and crossed the street to avoid stepping through a coil of homeless bodies stretching along the sidewalk. Picking up my pace, I practically jogged to reach my destination. Built by Suzhou artists to replicate a wealthy home from the Ming Dynasty, the Lanzhou Chinese garden takes up a whole city block, with carved lions guarding the gate. Once I stepped inside, a sense of peace immediately settled over me. A lake sat in the middle of the courtyard garden, reflecting swaying trees and filled with swirling koi. 500 tons of limestone rocks had been transported all the way from China. I admired ginkgo wood carvings, poems etched on rock walls, a traditional tea house, and plants native to China: gardenia, chrysanthemum, lotus, and water lily. I could picture my ancestors in this place. My ancestors were buried in China, a country where they were no longer welcome. My grandparents had to flee to Taiwan in order to survive and build a new home. My parents left their families behind to discover a new land, overflowing with possibilities in America. It was like traveling back in time to another place, to another century, a world in exile. Or was I the one in exile? In the scholar's study, an older Chinese man in a black jacket and gray hat sat at a table surrounded by bamboo brushes and bowls of black ink. I stood behind a blonde mother-daughter pair, waiting for him to finish his Chinese calligraphy brushstrokes. They thanked him, and when he stepped up to the table, I saw characters representing symbols of hope, love, peace. Like the tattoos I sometimes spotted on white people. I knew it was a touristy request and felt a tug to leave. Still, I wanted a souvenir. Can you write a name for me, I asked. What? My last name, Soong. Fong? No, Soong, I repeated. Fong? I shook my head furiously. I had this misunderstanding in English before, with hostesses not hearing how to spell my last name, but never Mandarin. I shuffled my feet, fighting the imposter feeling washing over me. Where did I belong if this man who shared a face like mine couldn't understand my name? It was as if I didn't belong in either land, America or Asia. He looked up and studied my face. Are you Chinese? Yes. Can you write it? He asked. To me, it sounded like, can you prove it? I froze. He handed me a brush. Could I write it? It had been so long since I'd written any words in Chinese. I took the brush, and as the ink spread on the paper, the strokes came back to me, relief flooding my fingers. I remember. Oh, Soong, he said. Finally, recognition in his eyes. I nodded gratefully. He finished with a flourish and rolled up the rice paper. I tucked it carefully into my bag, feeling less like a foreigner exiled from home. Then I stepped into another room where a family memorial shrine was displayed. On a long altar table, a statue of Guanyin, the goddess of mercy, was sandwiched between a pair of black and white framed portraits, the great-grandparents of a staff member. Even though I knew this was a curated display, I was struck by the love and care that went into the arrangement of incense sticks, teacups, a bowl of peaches, and blue and white porcelain vases. Remembering ancestors is essential in the Confucian tradition. Every spring on Qingming Day, or Tomb Sweeping Day, families visit cemeteries to clean, pray, and burn paper money to ensure well-being in the afterlife. My family never had a traditional altar in our home in New Jersey. We never even spoke about our ancestors. Perhaps when my father crossed the Pacific Ocean on a freighter ship bound for Oakland, those memories didn't fit in his suitcase. If I had to create a shrine today, I would carefully choose a handful of black and white photos honoring both sets of my grandparents and place them on a small teak table with a Buddha figurine, oranges, and votive candles. Then I would place this letter in a crimson envelope atop the table in the hopes of reaching the other side. Dear ancestors, as I mine my own past for clues of anxiety and depression, it has led me to you. In the course of my research, I found epigenetics and understood how trauma and resilience lives in my DNA. Thank you, 谢谢, for protecting your family, believing in the future, and passing on the strength to survive even in the darkest of times. In gratitude and awe, Xiaomei. After visiting the family shrine, I walked around the lake and stopped in an outdoor archway. On a table, there were slips of red paper tied with ribbon and an invitation to write a poem. I stopped to think, inhaling scents of plum trees and peony. I wanted to pay my respects to my ancestors, to feel connected to them through this place and time. On a slip of red paper, I wrote in cursive black ink, Grandmother, I want to call your name, in a garden far away from home, so you will never be forgotten. Walking away from this arch, I had become a traveler who was bestowed a gift, a memory, a portal to another time. I thought, this is exactly where I was meant to be. I remember. Thank you.